Thank you to everyone who shared, contributed, and read this post. Responses varied from jovial, like spilling coffee all over the floor, to more serious ones, like losing loved ones, health, and life. If we are ready, sharing our experiences can help relieve stress and assist with persevering. And as some have said, reading about others' woes has put a perspective on our own troubles. Everyone's problems are uniquely important to them, and that matters. Just because someone's problem is bigger than yours doesn't mean yours is not important. Please still deal with it because, personally, I think that is how resilience is developed, overcoming hurdle after hurdle. Lastly, the answers like, when I was born, waking up every morning, every day, and the like really resonated. Your life does matter. Great that you guys are acknowledging it, and I hope that you're already receiving help. If not, it's such an amazing community here. Please reach out to each other. You're not alone. There are about 10 to 20 posts like that. Let me know if you need help finding them. Story 1. I've had a couple of points in time where it felt like the universe was taking something personally. When I was 21, I watched a friend get hit by a car and die before the ambulance could come. 3 weeks later, my uncle was found dead in a gutter. A week after that, my girlfriend at the time left me. 5 years later, the transmission failed in my car, and I got stranded for a day in the middle of nowhere. A week after that, I was evicted from my place, and the following week I was fired. I was evicted because the owner wanted his new fiancée to move in, and I was fired for returning late from lunch by 1 minute. Story 2. In 2015, my wife and I got married in May, bought a house in June, received a cancer diagnosis in August, and beat it in February. We had a $90,000 hospital bill and filed for bankruptcy a year later. Now they are trying to take our house through a loophole. I'm still in the why me phase. Story 3. I quit my job during COVID because I got offered another job. The other job rescinded the offer before the start date due to COVID issues, which is well within their legal right. I am now unemployed and do not qualify for unemployment, and I am in a very competitive job market. Story 4. I think I get it bad sometimes, but then I read half the comments on here and realize I'm just over-dramatizing half the things in my head. I haven't got it half as bad. Big props to all those people out there going through a struggle or barely hanging on. You're an inspiration. Story 5. Every time I start to get my life on track and going well, I somehow, for some reason, mess things up and have to start back at square one. Story 6. Brain cancer. But if it wasn't me, it could have been someone else, so I view it as taking one for the team that is humanity. I'm glad it wasn't one of you, or anyone for that matter. And I always fervently hope that through study and work, a breakthrough will happen so that no one else has to have the same moment. Story 7. When my stomach hurts really badly and I am forced to remove all my clothes while on the toilet, the cold sweats kick in, and I turn on the sink to splash water on myself in an attempt to cool off. Why me? Is what I whisper. Story 8. I had an ex who, when we were dating, wanted to have sex with me. The thing is, I felt that was too soon, and I just wasn't really ready for that, so I took her home. I tried to talk things out with her for the next 3 weeks. The first week, I didn't see her. The second week, she said she was having a stressful time and to give her a week. Then she'd talk to me about it. Then comes the third week. I started talking to her in the hallway saying, "Hey, can we talk about this? It's been eating at me, and you promised we could." Then she screamed at me, calling me a pervert and a molester. The next day, I was pulled into the office by the school police officer and told that she was accusing me of rape. And that's all they could tell me. The rumors spread around for over a year. I was getting random insults from everyone with some threats here and there. I fell into a deep depression, and my grade point average dropped from a 3.8 to a 2.9, and I don't think I learned anything from my classes. It was less than a week before quarantine started when I finally had my hearing, and I was proven not guilty, but the damage is done, and I don't think I'll ever be able to get back the friends or general happiness I once had, and all I can ask is, why me? Story 9. I'll go with right now. I'm in the hospital. I've been sick almost 3 months. For negative COVID-19 tests. They have no idea what is wrong. I had a 103-degree fever Saturday. Sunday at 2 a.m., I woke up and decided to pee. Finished, turned, and passed out. I mostly protected my head but lost a lot of blood. On hands and knees, I passed out again, breaking my nose. So why me? Story 10. I made one bad decision in my entire life and took acid just one time almost 7 years ago, ending up with visual snow syndrome, eye floaters, hallucinogen persisting perception disorder, brain fog, depersonalization disorder, and derealization disorder. All of these can be permanent, leaving me basically stuck in a permanent trip. If you have hallucinogen persisting perception disorder or visual snow, please check out my nonprofit organization page at Neurogroup. We have a small team of neurologists interested in conducting live tests to determine the cause of these issues, but we need your help in spreading awareness. Story 11. In March of this year, I went out and got drunk. While in the bathroom, someone offered what they said was cocaine. Turned out to be fentanyl. I died 3 times and woke up in the hospital with severe hearing loss. It's been the worst time of my life. I'm not as social. I have hearing aids, but they don't help much, as my word recognition scores are poor. The tinnitus is so intense I can't get a good night's rest. I learned my lesson as far as drugs go, though. Too bad it took what it did for me to learn. So I guess this is the reason why I live in such a depressing world now. Story 12. When I realized she told you, I am not looking for a relationship, and 2 days later she updates her profile picture with the not looking for a relationship guy. Yes, I was her free meal for many weeks. Story 13. I got beaten up by some homeless guys a few years ago. It was kind of my fault as I was pretty drunk and walking back from the liquor store to this girl's place, which was pretty much the back of a warehouse. Anyway, they tried to mug me, and I hit one of the guys and knocked him out cold in one shot. His 2 friends beat me up, and I wet myself. Afterwards, they were saying, "We just wanted your money." Luckily, I only had a credit card on me. These guys were confused and said, "We can't even use this, why?" So one of their friends got knocked out, I got beaten up, wet myself, and they got nothing. I didn't even have a phone on me, they did take my shoes, but I have big feet. Story 14. Moved to a new country, spent 3 months searching for a job. Finally got a difficult kitchen job for the time being. Working 12 hours, 6 days a week because the business is poorly run. After 2 months, I take a week off due to burnout. In the middle of that week, the boss calls to inform me the business has gone under, and they're closing immediately. Now without a job and just used a week of holidays. Haven't been intimate in 5 months and need some stress release. Meet up with a girl from Tinder. A bit below my standards, but I just need to be with someone. Wear protection, 3 days later, it burns when I urinate and I've got chlamydia. Story 15. I spent a good 4 years being one of my grandfather's aides, assisting him during his fight with cancer that ended up taking him in August of last year. Let me tell you, it hurts on a different kind of level watching one of the strongest men you know deteriorate until he finally fades away, completely doped out on morphine. A couple of months later, my girlfriend of 3.5 years left me the day after my birthday because I had become less affectionate and sunk into myself and didn't have the energy to focus on her like she needed. Soon after that, I fought tooth and nail to get someone I trusted with my life a job with me as they were moving back to the state from across the country, and I couldn't be happier. He was living at my coworker's house, and to help out, I agreed to host him on the weekends. The first weekend I had him over, he was constantly pilfering alcohol and at one point was so drunk I could specifically smell what bottle he was drinking from. And when we went to leave, he tried to steal a couple $100 worth of my magic. The gathering cards, fully aware I just had my car stolen from twice and was recovering from about a $2,000 loss in stolen magic cards as the most significant parts of my collection were taken. The best part is that I've forgiven him since then, since I just want my friend back, and he barely talks to me while being best friends with everyone else in our social circles. I used to lead the largest English-speaking guild on a World of Warcraft private server that saw over 6,000 during peak hours. I had to step down as I couldn't ever seem to find reliable officers and couldn't handle the stress of doing everything myself for a group of hundreds forever. Like I mentioned before, I had about $2,000 worth of magic cards stolen from me. The icing on the cake is that earlier this year I met a girl that utterly blew me away and shattered everything I knew about love. It's like her simple presence allows my mind to actually breathe. and she now wants absolutely nothing to do with me. When she left, I just sort of emotionally snapped. I became incredibly angry and frustrated and am unable to hide my emotional state really at all right now. So I've almost lost my job multiple times fighting with my boss as he doesn't seem to realize how he needs to shift if he wants to make sure he doesn't send me into a meltdown. He is my uncle and can easily get under my skin, and have lost multiple friends with my attitude right now. At this point, all I want to do is crawl under a rock and sleep until my head can heal, but I can't. I have to get up every day and go to work and try my best to act like I haven't had almost everything I love stripped from me in the last year. So yeah, why me? Is pretty appropriate right now, even if I know it's completely impartial and just part of life. Story 16. Diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma at 18 months. Chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, and stem cell transplants. Born with pectus excavatum. Developed severe scoliosis. Had a spinal fusion surgery to correct it. Intestines collapsed due to superior mesenteric artery syndrome a week after coming home from the hospital after surgery. Stayed in the hospital for 3 months, missing the first quarter of my senior year. Turned 18 the year after my parents divorced. Disowned by my father the month after. Story 17. Every time I realize that I am really turning 35 soon without any relationship experience, I mean, most of the time I can put it in the back of my mind and not think about it. But then suddenly it jumps to the forefront, and it seems so unreal, like a movie, like something that did not really happen. No one turns 35 without ever experiencing romantic love, right? I know no one else personally who is in that situation. Even teenagers 20 years younger than me experience love and sex, but not me. To such moments I think, why me? What did I do in a past life to deserve this? Why did everybody else succeed in this but not I? Story 18. Returning from the army to my home, I fell asleep at the wheel. I woke up when the car started crashing on the side of the road. Everything in slow motion, trying to grab the wheel, thinking only F. Story 19. Lately, it's been, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm sorry. It's saving me time and money, but it's happened to me a lot lately and I don't know why. I don't even say, yes, I want a relationship. I always answer, I'm looking for someone cool. And if it goes somewhere, then I'm cool with that. It has happened to me 3 times in the last 2 months, and I'm about ready to rip my stupid nuts off and call it a day. Story 20. When I said to my ex, can we talk? I feel like we're drifting apart at the moment. She said, I need some time and space to think about stuff. She then was silent for 4 days, at which point she ended the silence to break up with me on my birthday. After that fun, happy birthday conversation, I asked her, is there someone else? Knowing full well she'd been getting quite close to a guy at her work, she said absolutely not. It's just that we don't get to see each other as much anymore. Things have changed or some other nonsense. Less than a week later, she posts a photo of her and her work friend on holiday, standing at the foot of a hotel bed together. The following week, I started giving 2 work friends a ride into work in the mornings as they didn't drive. So I pull up to their place. It turns out they live in the same building as her work friend, and I have to park my car next to my ex's car at 7 a.m. every day for the next month, confirming the fact they are definitely involved. Cool, no doubt. Story 21. Upon reflecting all bad things that have happened to me, I somehow had a hand in it. Except for one time when I was robbed at gunpoint at the age of 15. Story 22. I spent the past 4 years dating an amazing woman while she went through medical school, and I started a new job 2 years ago. I became really depressed in that job, numbing myself to the pain, to life, and to her, embarrassingly. We were 2 hours apart for the last 2 years, and I lived alone the last one. She went off to medical residency, and I was looking forward to moving into life with her, regaining my self-worth, and being with her. Then she broke up with me, and now with the pandemic, I am back at home, for hours away with my parents, and I feel so alone. Sob story, yes, but I also think, why me? Every day. Story 23. In 2010, my childhood cat died. The girl I was dating, but not officially, started seeing someone else. I found out when her boyfriend texted me to stop contacting her. saying she wasn't interested, just a few days after we had been intimate. I was living with my brother and came home to find the house empty of him and his boyfriend. Their computers and all recording equipment like cameras were missing. They had been arrested for a serious crime. I ended up with the most incompetent manager at work, who did none of the administrative tasks and left them to me, sabotaging my sales figures. My manager practically sabotaged me at work, resulting in my being traded with another staff member for a month to fix things. This meant that while now paying rent on my own, I had to travel to the opposite side of the city daily for work. I found out my brother hadn't paid rent for several weeks, even though he had taken my money, meaning I was behind by about a month. The landlord found my brother's cat and ordered me to get rid of it. I tried multiple times to meet with my general manager to explain my personal situation and report my store manager, but she canceled every time because his personal sales figures were excellent. I then started a 2-year toxic relationship with a woman with whom I had nothing in common, and we moved in together a few months later. Story 24. Came out of the dentist still numb and talking funny from my surgery. My truck randomly shut off and wouldn't restart after I had already backed out of the parking space and blocked all traffic moving in that lane. Then, some pyramid scheme person approached me while I was trapped there waiting for a tow, and I had to listen to the whole spiel. I kept telling the person that I already have a great job and am not interested. He claims that it's a perfect side hustle and has the audacity to say it's good to have 2 trucks on the road. Forget that afternoon.